Hello students, welcome to our class. If you remember, in last part we have started with the semiconductor chapter of 12th standard as well as 11th standard. What we have seen in 11th standard, what are the semiconductors, how they are different from the conductor and insulator, that also we have learned in 11th standard. After that we have seen the type of semiconductor. If you remember, pure semiconductor, it is said to be intrinsic semiconductor in which there is no impurity, pure form of semiconductor. Examples of silicons and germanium, if you remember. After that we have seen in 11th standard the extrinsic semiconductor in which some impurity is added to pure semiconductor so that resultant conductivity of material get increased, and that type extra thing get added to pure form is said to be extrinsic semiconductor. And there are two type of extrinsic semiconductor depending on which impurity is dope. Trivalent impurity get dope, it is said to be p-type semiconductor because there is a lack of positive charge, or we can say hole. And when the pentavalent impurity is dope in a pure semiconductor, there is an extra one electron, and due to that number of electrons are more, that's why it is said to be n-type of semiconductor. This already we have finished in 11th standard. Apart from this, we have seen the application. If you remember, in 12th standard when we have started semiconductor devices, so we have seen the first device that is said to be PN junction diode, or said to be semiconductor diode. It consists of PN junction, and how it work, it will work in two positions, forward bias, reverse bias. We have seen the both characteristics. Then different type of diodes we have seen: Zener diode, LED, light emitting diode, if you remember, solar cell, photodiode. All these things we have finished, and their working also we have seen. Now the new topic we have to start today, that is nothing but this topic is remaining, that is nothing but a bipolar junction transistor. What exactly bipolar junction transistor? In short, it is said to be BJT. What is said to be bipolar junction transistor? So if you remember, this bi means what? This bi means 2. And as this polar means what? Polarities. These are said to be polarities. So what exactly occurred in this device? Whatever be the current flow through the circuit, that is due to two polarities at a time, either by electrons or by holes. And that's why the resultant current in this device is due to two polarities. Bi means 2, polar means polarities. Polarities means what? Either these are electrons or these are holes, positive charges. And due to them the current get flow. That's why it is said to be bipolar junction transistor. Simple way to explain is bipolar junction transistor. And here the current flow because of the two charges, so it is said to be bipolar junction. Now let's start with the construction of this. Let's start with the construction of BJT. So what exactly construction of BJT means what? In this case, how it consists of? It's simple thing. If you remember, we have seen the PN junction diode consists of two semiconductors, N-type, P-type. Here there are three regions. So that three regions we can draw it like this. Suppose I have drawn the region like this. Out of this, the moderate region is said to be this. First is the moderate region. Then we can draw this as a small region, and this is said to be large region. These three regions are there in transistor. Suppose we will consider this as NPN transistor. Suppose this region is made up of N-type semiconductor. This is made up of P-type semiconductor. Again, this is made up of N-type semiconductor. Then this is said to be NPN transistor. N region, P region, and N region. Now remember, the first parameter, first region, which is made up of N-type semiconductor, it is said to be emitter, because it will emit the electron. That's why it is said to be emitter. So we can draw it here by this, and we can write it as E for emitter. It will emit the charges. That's why it is emitter. This smallest region is said to be base. So we can draw one connection from this, and we can give the name as base. It is an intermediate region. We can say in this case, P type of semiconductor is sandwiched between two N type of semiconductor, and this sandwich region is said to be base. And it is very thin in size. This is moderate in size, and this is large in size, as we can see in the diagram. And this last region here, third region, where the emitted electrons are collected, it is said to be collector, and it is represented by C. As it is represented by C, as its name is collector, it will collect the charges or polarities coming from the emitter. Emitter emits, collector collects. That's why this is an emitter, that's why this is a collector. Is that clear? So already we have seen the size of emitter is moderate, size of base is thin, very thin in size, and collector is large in size. Apart from this, there is one process that is said to be doping. If you remember, we have learned this process of doping in the PN junction diode when we have learned extrinsic semiconductor. What exactly doping means? Doping means what? Addition of some impurities to the pure semiconductor to increase the conductivity or properties of that device. We will add some impurities, and that process is said to be doping. Now let's see here. In this case, this emitter is heavily doped. Let's look at like this. Doping of emitter is heavy. Very heavily doped emitter is means large number of impurities are added here. In N-type semiconductor, large electrons are available, so it is heavily doped, we can say. And this is the base. Base is very lightly doped. Lightly doped means what? Very small amount of doping would be done here in the base, because already it is very thin and very small doping is there. Small positive charges are available. So as this is heavily doped, we can write here it is N-type. So here there are large number of electrons which are available in this region because it is heavily doped. Apart from the base is lightly doped means what? Very few amount of holes are available. So these positives are the holes because it is lightly doped. Let's go to third. This collector is moderately doped. Not highly doped or heavily doped, not lightly doped. It is moderate between these two. So here again it is N-type. So there are some electrons which are available here also. And these electrons are nothing but what? Moderately doped. We can say just this is the doping and this is size of this different regions. And one terminal coming from the fourth region is said to be emitter, as we have seen. Central, it is the base, and the last one is said to be collector. This part already I have explained you. So let's go further. If we consider this is the basic construction of the transistor. Apart from this construction, if you see this impurities we have seen, but this is the type, first type, NPN transistor. If we have to sandwich N region, in this case we have sandwiched the P. Suppose I have made it N. N-type semiconductor is sandwiched between two P-type semiconductor. It is said to be PNP semiconductor. Now what will occur? The terminal remains same. Emitter, base, collector. Doping remains same. Heavily, lightly. This is moderate. Doping remains same. But what gets changed? As it is P-type, instead of electrons, there would be holes. So these are all positive holes because this is P-type semiconductor now. Now whatever the holes here in base, they are not holes because it is N-type. N-type means large number of negative charges, means electrons. So they becomes electron. Again this P-type means what? There are large number of positive charges that is said to be hole. This is the only difference between NPN and PNP, depending on which region is sandwiched. Here N-type semiconductor is sandwiched between two P-type semiconductor, so it is said to be PNP. Initially we have seen NPN. Now let's go further. Further we are going to see the same in terms of the diagrams. So just first of all I will draw the diagram. So how to plot a diagram, or you can say, if you remember, we have seen in 11th standard or we have seen in 12th standard also the first device of semiconductor that we have seen PN junction diode. It consists of such type of things. If you remember, this is the region and this is said to be P type of semiconductor, this is N type of semiconductor, and if you draw the terminal from this P, this is one terminal, this is another terminal, this is the PN junction diode, and this boundary between these two regions P and N, it is said to be PN junction. It is said to be PN junction, and diode is said to be PN junction diode. That's it. This part already we have learned, if you remember. It is said to be PN junction and that is said to be PN junction diode. But in case of transistor, how many regions are there? 3. So suppose this is P, this is N, then there should be, apart from this N is very small, this is N, and there is another large region, it is said to be P, and the 3 terminal. That's it. That is the difference between diode and transistor. Diode has 2 terminal, 2 regions. The transistor has 3 terminal, emitter, base, collector, because it has 3 regions, P and P. Apart from this, in case of diode, there is only one PN junction. But in case of this transistor, if you look, this is the boundary between this P and N. At the same time, This is another boundary between this N and P. So there are two junctions in transistor, only one junction in diode. So what exactly these two junctions are? See the first junction here. This junction is said to be junction between emitter and base. So it is said to be emitter base junction. It is said to be emitter base junction between emitter and base. That is said to be emitter base junction, or sometimes it is said to be input junction. This is symbol for input, and it is said to be sometimes input junction. At the same time, the another junction which is formed between base and collector, this is said to be, this is the emitter base, this is said to be collector base junction. It is said to be collector base junction, junction between PN junction between collector and base, or base and collector base junction, or similar to this theory, it is said to be output junction. This symbol for output, it is said to be output junctions. So in transistors, there are two junctions, input junction, it is also said to be emitter base junction, output junction, it is said to be collector base junction. I hope you got an idea about this emitter base and collector base junction. Now this is about this. Now in your book they have mentioned one point. That point they have mentioned that when two diodes connected back to back, they will form a transistor. How it will work? Let's draw the diagram. Suppose this is the first diode I have drawn here. So it is suppose D1. It has two terminal. This P region. This is N region. Okay. So another diode is here. Suppose this second diode. Again it is P region. It is N region. It is diode D2. Now what will occur? When we connect this back to back means what? PN and here it is PN. So suppose if you draw these two terminals, both are forward. Just do one thing. Keep it as a PN. Reverse it. Reverse it means what? Just erase this P, take it N. Erase this N, make it P. PN junction back to back. Now if you connect these two terminal, and just take another common terminal, it is said to be base. And this is as usual said to be emitter. This would be said to be collector. Now remember the point. This diode is in just general condition, and this back of this N, just connect the N region. Then this will form a transistor. We can just modify the diagram. Just move this diode little bit to this side and connect them. You get a structure of transistor. Now how to connect them? Just I have erased this part and move this diode here. Suppose like this I have moved. This is N, this is P. And these are the terminals. Now remember, this is N, there should not be one. This is the base. And this is the P collector. Now we can say whole junction is made up of N-type semiconductor. It is said to be PNP transistor. Now remember one thing here. This is how the transistor can be created by connecting two diodes back to back. Only difference is what? In actual transistor, the size of emitter is moderate, size of base is very small, and size of collector is large. And dopings are different. Heavily doped, lightly doped, moderately doped. I hope you got about this. Apart from this, if you remember, in case of diode, we have seen the symbol. Such type of symbol we have drawn for a diode. This is symbol for a diode, if you remember. Symbol for diode means what? This arrow represents direction of current. Current flow from positive to negative, so that this arrow is positive, means P-type semiconductor. This line means N-type semiconductor, and this arrow represents direction of current in case of diode. That already I have explained you. So this is a PN junction diode symbol. Similarly, we can draw the symbol for transistor. So let's draw the symbol for transistor. To draw the symbol, first of all make some such type of circle. Such circle is there. Apart from this, there is one such type of plate. The terminal would drawn, and apart from this, here another terminal would be there, upward direction, downward direction. Three terminal it has. So these are the three terminal. Out of these three, this is said to be base. Central terminal is said to be base. Now this would be either collector or emitter. How to identify collector and emitter? Collectors and emitters are identified in terms of arrow. emitter has always the arrow in the symbol, collector doesn't have the arrow. Suppose I have made the arrow here, which is moving inside the base, then definitely this terminal has an arrow, it is said to be emitter. Is that clear? It has an arrow, it is said to be emitter. It doesn't have an arrow, means by default it is said to be collector. Do you got it? Apart from this, let's see why this arrow is going inside. As we know, current flows from positive to negative. Just remember that concept. Current flows from positive to negative. So this must be P region, this must be N region, and this must be P region. So which type of transistor it is? PNP transistor. So it is said to be first type of transistor, PNP. Okay. Similarly, we can draw another transistor that is said to be NPN transistor. What should be the difference? The difference should be this like this. Suppose this circle. Suppose this is the circle I have drawn. Let us draw this. This is nothing but a base as usual. I have drawn that base. Suppose this is nothing but a collector here. And let us draw here the emitter. Now remember, arrow is going inside, so it is PNP. Suppose that arrow is coming outward like this, away from the base. It is what? Current flow from positive to negative. This is positive, this is negative, this must be negative. It is said to be NPN transistor. So whenever you get such type of symbol, in an electrical circuit, it means what? Transistor was connected. If arrow is moving toward the base, it is said to be PNP transistor. It is coming out, it is said to be NPN transistor. I hope that you got the idea about the symbol of transistor. There are two types of transistor, NPN and PNP, depending on which region is sandwiched. That's it. So these are the symbols, and how to identify collector and emitter. By using the arrow, we can identify which is a collector and which is emitter. That also I have told you. Now let's go to the next topic of your book. If you see in your book, they have mentioned here in figure 16.18c, the diode connected back to back, they will form a transistor. Same thing we have learned. Only difference is what? In your book, they have used the symbol of diode. We have used the regions, P region and N region. It will clarify much more in our case. So in your book, they have used the symbol. That is the difference only. Let's go further. Just they have mentioned here below that diagram 16.18c, what is emitter, base and collector according to their sizes and doping level. That also we have seen. Okay, emitter heavily doped, base lightly doped, and collector is moderately doped. Size of emitter is medium, base is very thin, and collector is large in size. That already we have seen. Same thing they have mentioned here. Let's go further. They have just mentioned one region, depletion region. If you remember, we have seen this. Depletion region. If you remember, already we have seen this topic in when we have learned the diode. Depletion region means what? No free charge carriers should be available. If you remember, I have given one of the best example at that time. Suppose there are two countries and there is a border between the two countries. Suppose there are two countries here, suppose India, and here suppose it is China. So there are a lot of war between China and India. Let's take example of China. In between these two countries, this is a border. Line of control. It is said to be LOC, line of control. So what the India will do? India will give such some area. Within this area, no human beings are allowed. That is said to be depleted area. Similarly, China will also allow some area which is told to be it is depleted area. So within this whole region, from this side to this side, whole area is depleted area. Depleted area means what? No any human being is allowed to move in this. If somebody is moved, then both side of army or defense services have full permission to shoot that person. And that area is not restricted. Remember, it is said to be depleted area. No one human being is allowed to move. Similarly, in case of diode, there is a depletion region where there is no any charge. There should not be electrons. There should not. Suppose this is a p-type semiconductor now. This is n-type semiconductor. And here, this is a device. This is a p-n junction. This is a p-n junction. Now, this area is said to be depletion area or depletion region because Within this area, no free charge is available. That is said to be depletion region. In case of diode, it has only one depletion region because only one PN junction. What about transistor? Transistor has two junctions, emitter base junction and collector base junction. So that there are two regions, there are two depletions area. Is that clear? Okay. Apart from this, the next topic they have mentioned in your book is nothing but what? Current. Current means what? Whatever the charges are moving from emitter to the base, they will create a emitter current represented by I suffix E. Charges moving from emitter to base. Charges moving from base toward the supply, that will create the base current IB. That will create a base current. And the electrical charges, maybe holes or electron, they are goes to collector. They are said to be, they will create a collector current. So there are three type of current: emitter current I suffix E, base current I suffix B, collector current I suffix C. Same thing they have mentioned in this. After that, they have mentioned the most important thing, that is resistance. They have mentioned the thing resistance. Now to consider this part resistance, let us see again the word transistor. So when we draw the word transistor, I forgot to tell you at the first time. Let's see this transistor. Transistor is a word consists of two different words. Here trans, this is the first one. Trans means it is transfer. Transfer. Trans stands for transfer. Istor, I-S-T-O-R. If you remember, we have learned one device, resistor, such type of a device, R-E-S-I-S-T-O-R. Out of this resistor, if you take Istor here, here there must be S, transistor. If you take this part, I-S-T-O-R, this corresponds for a resistor. And resistor has a property of resistance. So what is this actually? Transfer of resistance. That is said to be transistor. Transistor means what? Consists of two words together. Trans for transfer, istor for resistor, means it has a resistance. So transfer of resistance was done in the device, that is said to be transistor. What exactly it is, that we will see later on in the working of transistor. I hope you got this. Now that resistors. Now remember, in case of transistor, whatever we have seen the two different regions, the collector base junction and emitter base junction. So remember, for better efficient working of transistor, this is a emitter, this is a base, and this is a collector. So this is P and P suppose. So this is emitter, this is the base, and this is the collector. Now in this case, whenever for efficient working of transistor, this input PN junction, emitter base PN junction must be forward bias, and collector base junction, this junction must be reverse bias. Now if you remember, in case of working of diode, we have seen connected to P region, negative of battery, connected to N region, it is said to be forward bias. When the diode is in forward bias, large amount of current flow to the circuit, and current is flowing, there is no opposition, resistance is minimum. And when the diode or this region is reverse bias, in reverse bias of diode, there is no flow of current. As current is not flowing, what does it means? There is large resistance. So here in reverse bias of output junction, this is said to be large, high resistance. And this forward bias of input junction, it is said to be low resistance. So resistance get transferred from low to high. That is said to be transfer of resistance. That is nothing but a transistor. Okay. Now let's see. We will see that also in detail later on. So let's see. I hope you got this idea about this, how the transfer of resistance get occurred, that they have to mention here. Now remember, there is one region of transistor where it will just behave very accurately or very nicely, and that behaving region is said to be active region. So everything device, when the transistor is in active region, it will work best. Performance is best, everything is best in active region. That's why to make a transistor in active region, input junction must be forward bias, output junction must be reverse bias, active region. Just take one example for this. When you come to the college, when you attend the lectures, initial 4 lectures are very active. You are very active in first 4 lectures. You are very interested to learn something, to capture something, your understanding is good in first 2 to 3 lectures. Just consider same, student is same, your case, you are sitting in the same class, but you are attending the last lecture. Then you can imagine that you are not in active region. Your mind is not going to understand anything because lot of heavy load is given to you within that period. So last period is very horrible to every students because at that time they are not active. They becomes just, we can say, they are very, very hungry, or we can say they are tired, mentally tired. That's why they are not in active region. Similarly, so the students are efficiently work in the first 3 to 4 lecture because that is the active region. Okay, and it depends on the capacity of student. That's it. So similarly, transistor work betterly in active region where input junction is forward bias and output junction is reverse bias. Let's go further. Now let's start with the working. What is the working of, this is the construction we have seen. Now let's go to the working of transistor. How the transistor works. Working of BJT, bipolar junction transistor. How it will work. Now it's the simple thing. How it will work means what? Just we have to draw the transistor. So let us draw. This is a transistor. This is the emitter. This is the base, and this is the collector. Let us draw the 3 terminal. So these are the 3 terminal: collector, emitter, and this is base. Suppose it consists of NPN semiconductor material, so it is said to be NPN transistor. Now let's see, we have seen this everything. So this N region means what? It has majority charge carrier as electrons. Large number of electrons are there in this emitter, so this is N region. P region means it is base. Base is lightly doped, only few holes. Let us draw the 2 holes only. Very few, maybe less than 2. It is very few number of lightly doped means very few holes are available. Again, the collector has emitter, it is N-type. So again, it has moderate number of electrons because it is moderately doped. Okay. Now for efficient working of transistor, best working of transistor, input junction should be forward bias. So to make this forward bias, we have to apply some battery. So forward bias means what? Positive of the battery is connected to P region, negative of the battery connected to N region. It is said to be forward bias. Apply the battery connections here. So just apply. N type, so negative of the battery connected to N, positive of the battery connected to P. This is said to be positive, this is said to be negative. Suppose this is input battery represented by VBB. This initial junction, collector base junction, now it is in forward bias. At the same time, the output junction, collector base junction, must be reverse bias. So the polarity should be here reverse. P region connected to negative of the battery, negative to P region, and positive to N region. In that case, this collector here it is positive to N and negative to P. This battery is said to be output battery VCC. Now the transistor is said to work in active region. Input junction forward bias, output junction reverse bias. Is that clear? Now let's see the working. As this is negative is applied, so negative comes here. This is negative terminal of the battery. Positive comes here. As this negative and negative electrons, they are same charges, so they will repel. They will repel. At the same time, holes and this positive and this holes, again the same charges, they get repelled. Repel where? They get repelled toward this junction. All these electrons move toward the junction like this because of repulsion. At the same time, repulsion is there. At the same time, there is attraction. Attraction of what? This negative repel. This negative and this positive, they will attract it for electron. Similarly, positive repel. At the same time, these holes are attracted toward this negative terminal. That's why all the charges coming toward this input junction or emitter base junction, and as they are moving toward the junction, depletion region get decrease. And finally, when we apply this voltage greater than 0.7 volt, greater than 0.7 volt for silicon, and greater than 0.3 volt for germanium. For germanium it is 0.3 volt, and for silicon it is 0.7 volt. When the, suppose let us imagine, don't make confusion. Let's start. If we are, suppose we have this transistor made up of silicon. So silicon has cut in voltage or knee voltage of 0.7 volt. When we apply this voltage greater than 0.7 volt, this electron get more energy from the battery and they try to push this region. At the same time, holes also try to push this region if the voltage is greater than 0.7 only. If the voltage is less than 0.7, they will move toward that direction. They will move toward the junction, but they don't have efficient energy to break the junction. But if the voltage is greater than 0.7, they have sufficient energy to break this junction. And once the junction get break, all this large number of electron enters in this base. As they are enters in the base, out of that very few electron and holes, only two. Out of this, only two recombine with this, and due to that, some current get flow, and that current here is said to be base current. And remaining electron are moved from emitter to base. That will create a emitter current. Do you got this? Now all electron come in the base. Some of them recombine with these two or few holes, and they will produce a current. Now this holes get finished. All these electrons comes here now. All these electrons comes here now. Again the same condition. Negative repels. At the same time, negative and this is positive now. This is positive now, and this is negative now. This negative repel the electron. At the same time, this positive attract all the electron. So all electron move toward this junction. They will break this junction also, and they will enter in the collector. And finally, from the collector, whatever the electrons are there, they will move to the positive of the source. And this is the basic working of the transistor. Due to movement of all this electron emitted from emitter enters in the base, finally come to collector, and from collector to this battery, it will create some current that is said to be collector current IC. Now the point to be remembered. One most important point to be remembered is that suppose imagine we have 100 electrons here in the emitter. We have 100 electrons. Okay, 100 electrons. When all 100 enters in the base, suppose in a base there are only 5 holes. Here there are only 5 holes. Out of 100, 5 holes get recombined with the 5 electrons. How many electrons are remaining in base and emitter now? 95s are remaining. And all this 95 electron transfer to collector. So this collector current is 95 due to 95 electron. The base current is due to 5 electron, and this emitter current is due to 95 electron. So this is one of the best concept to remember. Out of 100, 5 get recombined to create a base current, 95 remains here, and that 95 create what? Emitter current. 95 create what? It transfer to base, it will create a base current. But the total initial transfer of electrons what? 100. So the emitter current is 100. Emitter current is 100. Out of that 5 goes to base, 95 goes to collector. So we can write one simple equation here. The one simple equation, I suffix E, 100 electron split into equal to IB plus IC. 100 equal to 5 plus 95. This is one of the current equation for this transistor, that is IE equal to IB plus IC. But in this case, only 5 electrons combined with the whole. 5. It is very few. So we can just neglect this or make it 0. Approximately we can assume it is very small. So it is 0. So we can write final equation. IE emitter current is approximately equal to collector current. Emitter current is approximately equal to collector current. You have to remember this point. Okay. So this is the basic working of this transistor. NPN transistor we have learned. Similarly, PNP transistor also work. Only difference is what? Here it is P. Here there must be holes. Here it is N. There must be electrons. Here it will be P. There must be holes. That's it. And accordingly, this polarity get reversed. In NPN and PNP, this VBB and VCC polarity get reversed because input junction must be forward biased, output junction must be reverse biased. I hope that you got this working of transistor. Now let's go further. The same thing we have just seen the working of transistor, how the transistor get work. That part we have seen. Now what is remaining? The remaining part is what? The types of transistor or mode of transistors. Suppose before going into mode of transistor, that is said to be transistor configuration. What exactly transistor configuration are? Before going into that, let's see one simple concept. Suppose any electrical network we have, this is any electrical network. To apply the input to this device, minimum terminals required are two, positive, negative. So minimum two terminals are required. So these are the two terminals to apply the input here, that is VI between these two terminals. At the same time, minimum two terminals are required to take an output here. Two terminals are required to take output here, and that is output is said to be VO. VI is the input, VO is the output. So this is output. So the total terminal required are 4. 2 required for applying the input and 2 required for getting the output. So these two terminal and these two terminal, 4 terminals are required for electrical network. But what the problem we have with the transistor? Transistor has only 3 terminals. How can we make it 4? We can't make it 4. Now we have to do the same thing for transistor with the 3 terminals. So what they will do? They will make a one terminal common to the input and output. Suppose I have made this terminal here and this output here same. It is common at the input, common at the output. How many terminals? This is 1, together 1, 2, 3. It is transistor. That's it. So the terminal which is common at the input and output, that is said to be common terminal. And accordingly, transistor has 3 modes. The 3 modes are nothing but what? Common base, common emitter, and common collector. CB mode, common base is common at input and output. Common emitter mode, emitter is common at input and output. And the last is nothing but what? Common collector mode. Collector is common at input and output. I hope you got this. So 3 devices out of which base is common at input and output. It is said to be common base. Emitter is common emitter. Collector is common collector. Let's see how the common base mode will work. This configuration will work. So let us draw the transistor. So I will draw the transistor like this. So these are the 2 terminals. So this is the base. We know this is the base. This is collector. This is emitter. Now emitter must have the arrow. So suppose the arrow is like this. Current flow from positive to negative. So it is P and P. So P and P transistor. Now how to apply the input? Take this same base to the input. Apply this input. So this input is applied between base and emitter. That is suppose VI, input voltage. At the same time, when you want to take output, take the output between this. Take a base common here and here. So take an output between collector and base. So this is the output represented by V0, and that in this case, this base is common at the input and output. That's why it is said to be common base mode. Similarly, in this common base mode, what is the input current in common base? Input current is due to emitter. It is IE is input current. What is the output current? Here it is. It is due to collector. IC is output current. You have to remember this part. Apart from, what is the input voltage? Or whatever the voltage between these 2 terminals? The voltage between these 2 can be represented by one simple thing, that is voltage between emitter and base. VCB or VBE. So it is VBE, input voltage. VB input voltage, IE input current. Similarly here, output current is what? IC. What is the output voltage? This would be the output voltage. What is this? VCB or VBC. VBC or VCB. That is the output voltage. Output current is IC. I hope you got the idea about common base. Similarly, we will see the common emitter and common collector will be homework to all of you. Let's start with the common emitter. What exactly here? Again, draw the transistor. So this is a base. This is suppose collector, this is a base, and here this is the emitter. As we know, emitter would be there. It will be distinguished from collector in terms of arrow. So let's go, this is going inside, current flow from positive to negative. So again it is PNP transistor. Okay. Now emitter is common at input and output. And input is applied between base and emitter. This is input. Output is taken between collector and emitter, that is VO. And that is nothing but a emitter is common, so it is said to be common emitter mode. What is the input current? This is base. So input current is what? IB. What is the input voltage? This would be the input voltage. Voltage between base and emitter. It is VBE. VBE. What is the output current? Output current is due to collector, that is IC. Output voltage is what? This is the output voltage. What should be? VCE. Voltage between collector and emitter. I hope you understand what is meant by common emitter mode. Now this common collector is similar to this. You have to try to draw the diagram and try to find out the input current and voltage, output current and voltage. It's homework to you. If you have any some problem, you just refer your book. In your book they have given the same thing. They have given in your book the 6 diagram for this. This we have drawn for PNP. Similarly, you can draw for NPN transistor. This we have drawn for PNP. Similarly, you can draw for NPN transistor. So the two, one for PNP, other for NPN. These two for common base, 2 for common emitter, 2 for common collector. Total diagram would be 6. Same thing they have mentioned in the book. Have a look over it. But try to draw the diagram for common collector mode. Okay. While drawing the diagram, you must just take what is the input current, input voltage, output current and output voltage. Let's start with the common emitter configuration. So common emitter configuration or mode. Configuration, just will use the configuration, or it is said to be common emitter mode of transistor. Now let's see what exactly common emitter transistor. Already we have drawn the diagram. Similarly, we have to draw the diagram again. So let's draw the diagram again. So let us suppose I have drawn this diagram. So let us take this circle. Suppose this is a circle. I know it does not look like a circle. Suppose it is a circle. You must draw the perfect circle. Okay. When you are going to draw the symbol or something. So this is what collector. This is emitter. According to book we are going. So it is coming outward. Current flow from positive to negative. So they have written NPN. Now this is emitter. This is a collector. This is a base. This is nothing but a common emitter mode. Now we have to use the transistor in common emitter mode by applying the input. Just have a look over your book. So this base they have taken, this emitter is taken at the input and output. And if we consider here between these two terminals, they have drawn such type of thing and they have given the value VI. This symbol is for what? It is AC wave. AC input is applied to the common emitter mode of transistor. AC input, such type of input. So this is VR. Okay. What is the input current? Just we have learned. Before going into input current, we just draw the first output part, then we'll see that part. So let us draw the output part. So this is the output part, and here this is the emitter is common. We can take output here, that is said to be common emitter configuration. But before going into detail, they have shown in your book battery potential cells. Input junction forward bias, output junction should be reverse bias. So this should be forward bias. So what is P? P to the positive of the battery and to the negative of the battery. So this is said to be VBB. Okay. At the same time, output junction should be reverse bias. Output junction should be reverse bias. So the collector should be, this collector should be connected to positive of the battery. This is negative, and then this is a positive, negative. So this is said to be VCC. So this output junction should be reverse bias. Now might be there is some question in your mind. In your book they have drawn this battery here. I have drawn it here. Why it's so? Because there is some mistake in the diagram from your book. What is the mistake? If you see the diagram from your book, they have drawn here the resistance. They have drawn the resistance here and they have grounded this part. But if you see that there is one equation 16.1. 16.1 in your book. Below that they have write one single line. As in the diagram, load resistance RL is connected in series with a collector. They have used that word, special line. Load resistance connected in series with a collector. So this is the emitter. Here there should not be load resistance. It must be in series. So it must be somewhere here. And that is RL. Connected in series with a collector. Now the diagram is right. So what is the modification you have to do? Remove this load resistance, move it here. That is the modification you have to do in your diagram. Apart from this, one more thing. At the input base, they have used one resistance. Okay, and they have not given the name of that, but they have given this resistance. This is said to be current limiting resistance. If directly we will pass a current, transistor may get damaged. That's why to save the transistor, they have applied this input resistance, and that is nothing but a current limiting resistance. Now what is the current? Current flow due to base, it is a base current IB. What is the output current? It is a current flowing to the load resistance, that is nothing but a IC. And what is this? This current is nothing but a IE. It is a current IE. Sorry, this must go down, this must go here, upward. So that is nothing but a common emitter mode. Now remember, input is applied here. Where should we take output? We should take a output across this load resistance. Here we have to take a output. That is VO. Output is taken across load resistance which is connected in series with the collector. Is that clear? Now if you remember, apart from this, we have to see some equations. That equations are very simple. Initially, if you remember, I have just told you one equation. I will just write this RL here, IL here. We have drawn one equation. That is IE, total current passes 100 plus IC, it is 95. 100 equal to 5 plus 95. That we have seen 100 electrons. 5 get recombined in the base and 95 get transferred to the collector. So this equation we know, and this same equation in your book, that is the equation what? 16.1. Now here there are some factors, or we can say current gain factors. Now remember, why we are going to learn this common emitter only? Why we have not taken common base and common collector? Because this is one of the most important transistor configuration where the transistor will work efficiently, because it will give more current gain and power gain. Below this diagram, third to fourth line they have mentioned, this common emitter mode, it will give more current gain and more power gain. Its input impedance is less, output impedance is large. That's why it is better to use common emitter as compared to common base and collector, and so that this configuration is very much famous in transistor. That's why we are going to concentrate on this. Now here we have to see one parameter. That parameter is what? That parameter is said to be current gain. Current gain we have to see. So how do we find out the current gain? There are two factors, alpha DC, other is said to be beta DC. These are the two factors, alpha DC, beta DC, which are the ratio of the current, and that's why they are said to be current gains. So what is alpha DC and what is beta DC? That we have to see. Beta DC means what? Output current IC, output current divided by input current. So beta DC, output current IC divided by input current IB. At the same time, alpha DC is again another current gain factor. It is what? IC divided by IE. IC divided by IE. That will give the alpha DC. Output current divided by input current, IC divided by IB give the beta DC. Now the one interesting thing to remember, as we know, this is very very small, IB. So we can write one equation here. IE is approximately equal to IC. Approximately, if you neglect IB because it is very small, then what we will do? IC and IE both are here. Both are same. So what should be the value of alpha DC? Approximately it is 1. Approximately it is 1, and it is always less than 1. Okay, alpha DC. What about beta DC? IC, this IC is very large because 95% electron get transferred. It's very large. Okay. So this very 95 transfer from emitter, and already some electrons are there in collector. So the large number of electron, it will create a large collector current. It is very large collector current. Okay. So this IC is very large. IB is very small. It is because of 95 electrons only. IC, this is due to 100 electrons only. This is 95 plus collector region has its own electron. So it is very large. Okay. So this IC is very large. IB is very very small. and this is very large. So this value is always greater than 100 basically. Not always, it must greater than 100. But we can create this transistor by manufacturer company such that we can adjust the value of this alpha DC and beta DC. According to impurity added in these three regions, we can initially adjust what it should be the alpha DC we require, that we have to decide first. Beta DC we have to decide first, then create a transistor. That is the basic concept how the transistors are created or manufactured initially, for what application you want to use that transistor, and what should the value of alpha and beta DC required. Accordingly manufacturer create the transistor. Okay, so these are said to be the current gain in case of transistor. Now these two current gains are related to each other by one correlations. If you see in your book, there is equation 16.5. They have given as alpha DC equal to beta DC divided by beta DC plus 1. This equation gives the relation between alpha DC in terms of beta DC. Similarly, the next equation 16.6 said that beta DC equal to alpha divided by alpha minus 1. It should be DC. This is equation which gives the value of beta in terms of alpha. It gives the alpha in terms of beta. Now might be you have some question in your mind. How this equation comes? It's very simple. What should you do? This equation we have IE equal to IB plus IC. Divide both sides by IC. Divide both sides by IC. This become plus 1. IE by IC equal to IB by IC plus 1. IB by IC means this. IB by IC 1 by beta DC. IE by IC 1 by alpha DC. Put the values, solve the equation, further you get these two relations. I hope you got this relation between these, how they have derived these two current gain factors, and how the transistor work. That already we have finished. The different modes we have seen the common emitter configuration too. Now we have to see some characteristics of common emitter mode. Now approximately 51 minutes are over. I think it's better to stop it now. In next period we'll see characteristics of transistor, then working of amplifier, what are the amplifier that we'll see, and we'll start the logic gate in next period. Today we'll stop it here. Whatever the topic I have taught you today, all of you have to go to the book. Whatever I have taught you, same topic you should read once, and for next lecture you must read it once again and then see the next lecture. So it will be the revision and you will understand the better part. Next topic would be understand betterly. So students, be careful in this coronavirus disease or pandemic days. So you should just take care of yourself and your family too, and don't waste your time. Try to concentrate on the syllabus, because all of you have the vacations. We can say this vacation, that is restricted vacations given to you. So you must concentrate. You have a lot of time to concentrate on your studies. So don't waste your time. Concentrate on your studies. If you have any queries for today's lecture, you can just message me on my WhatsApp number. All of you have already my WhatsApp number. So I hope you understand betterly. Let's see you for next lecture. Okay, bye. Take care all of you.